Shave, a leading man classic. Centuries old, steady hand coaxing the rugged face back to smoothness. This nearly lost art has found revival at anotherfinecut.com. Hot towels, straight edge blade into your face. It's an experience that reminds you you're alive, you're a man, in the company of history's finest men. Start at anotherfinecut.com. Pick your barbershop in Yaletown, Gastown, or the Financial District, and relax into the big red leather chair for the shave of your life.
What's it like to score in the beautiful game? Come to Kia Vancouver and find out. This month during the Score the Best Price sale event, you can score 0% financing for 84 months and a $4,000 discount on select 2014 Kia Optimus. Plus, only at Kia Vancouver, score free lifetime car washes, free lifetime oil changes, free lifetime airport shuttle and parking, and always service with a smile. Kia Vancouver, the power to surprise at KiaVancouver.com and on Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon.
Pain or injury slowing you down? Take it to the choice of many top athletes, Expert Physio. Serving the Lower Mainland for over 35 years, the team at Expert Physio is dedicated to individualized care with specialized services such as orthotics, acupuncture, IMS, plus dizziness, pelvic floor, and certified hand therapies. Over 300 physicians referred to Expert Physio last year, and 100% of patients surveyed said they'd choose Expert Physio again. You're in good hands with Expert Physio. Burnaby Heights or at 8 Rinks, expertphysio.ca.
The Vancouver Street Soccer League isn't out to change the world. Just give the men and women in our homeless communities a chance to play soccer. Regardless of skill, everyone's included in practices and matches with teams from UBC, the Vancouver Police Department, the Vancouver Mayor's Office, and more. The focus is fun, but it builds skill and confidence, and that can change someone's world. Find out more at vancouverstreetsoccer.com.
This message fueled by Duso's Fresh Pasta and Sauce, proud to support community on and off the pitch.
Early job seekers try to find clever ways to send their resumes to employers, such as carrier pigeons.
Incoming!
Singing telegrams.
Jason has an MBA, doo-da, doo-da.
Today, all the modern job seeker needs
is VancouverJobShop.ca.
You can upload your resume for free. So, instead of being clever...
And our next dedication goes out to that very special hospital administrator looking for an IT director.
You can just be smart.
VancouverJobShop.ca.
Long name, amazing results.
This is your captain speaking. We'll be arriving in Orlando shortly.
Dad, we're clearly at an Esso station for gas.
And snacks and a car wash.
Big deal.
Exactly, because it's a double miles event. So we get double Aeroplan miles on all eligible purchases at Esso stations, and we're only a few miles shy of our big family trip.
So we are going?
We are clear for takeoff.
The double Aeroplan miles event is back at Esso stations. Swipe your Aeroplan card at the pump or in-store, and for every $3 spent, earn 2 miles on regular, 4 miles on extra, and 6 miles on supreme grades of gas.
All-time favorites. AM 650 is CISL Vancouver. And now, it's Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk on AM 650. Here's your host, Tyler Green.
Welcome to Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk second half kickoff, brought to you by Global Scarves. Producing soccer scarves for over 40 years. Get scarves for your local club, organization, or school at globalscarves.com. Good evening. My name is Tyler Green. Whitecaps knocked out of the Voyageurs Cup, winless in the tournament for yet another year. Trophyless, I guess I should say. Former Caps coach Martin Rennie in 15 minutes, and Expert Physio's David Sandals in just a minute here. But first, Spain crowned a league champion today, Simon.
Yes, indeed. Barcelona won Atletico Madrid's 1-1 draw at Barcelona secured them the Premier League title, and they will go to the Champions League final next week against their city rivals Real Madrid as champions of Spain. Real Madrid finished the season in Spain with a 3-1 win at home to Espanyol. Valencia also beat Celta Vigo by 2-1. Last night, Malaga beat Levante 1-0. Relegation matters remain in the 6 games that go tomorrow. Almeria against Athletic Bilbao, Osasuna against Real Betis, Rayo Vallecano against Getafe, and Real Valladolid against Granada are the games to watch in terms of the drop.
Only at Kia Vancouver, free lifetime car washes, oil changes, and get this, free lifetime airport shuttle and parking service at Kia Vancouver, Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon. Time now for the injury report, brought to you by Expert Physio in Burnaby, online at expertphysio.ca. Joining us on the program is Expert Physio's David Sandals, and this week, I actually went into Expert Physio at the 8 Rinks location to get a functional assessment, Simon. And that was done by David and the staff over at Expert Physio. And afterwards, David and I chatted, and he gave me a rundown as to why this is good for both, well, young, old, professional players, recreational athletes, why it's something that people should get tested, and tells us exactly what a functional assessment is.
Well, a functional assessment is a complete body assessment, or it can be upper body, lower body, designed to see if your body is moving the most ideal way, and if it's not, to identify the factors that are creating that situation. So we evaluate the way the person is moving, and then try and figure out the reasons why there may be what we call a movement dysfunction, whether it might be stiffness in the joints, whether it might be tight muscles, whether it might be weakness somewhere in the system. A lot of times this can be played into when somebody's had a serious injury in the past or have chronic injury problems. The body tends to compensate for those things in certain ways, and a functional movement assessment will pick these things up and then identify the factors that are causing the dysfunction in the movement, and you can give an athlete a program of specific things to work on to correct that.
Obviously, teams of a professional nature will want to take care of these issues with the person, but just an average everyday kind of Joe can come in and get these done, and usually sometimes it's just one or two simple little things that can be corrected, and that's what we can learn from.
Yeah, there are often one or two simple things. I mean, there are common things. Tyler here has kind of tight calves, which are causing some issues in the way that his legs move. And that's a fairly straightforward, fairly simple thing that he can work on before training, after training, you know, when he's warmed up, part of his warm-up, to address that. So often there are simple things. Sometimes they're much more complicated things that require a lot of repetitive movement for an athlete to correct what's actually happening, and they have to think very carefully about it. And we can add elastic bands around knees and feet and in all kinds of directions to help them feel the movement that they need to be doing.
And after the assessment, how am I looking? Is Bobby going to give me a contract with the Whitecaps?
Well, I would think we'd have to give you the training staff for a couple of years first before we can actually evaluate that. But so I wouldn't highly recommend signing you for a long contract anyway.
We're here at Expert Physio, expertphysio.ca. We're at the 8 Rinks location talking with David Sandals here on Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk. And David, let's go back to this Vancouver Whitecaps match from the past week. Unfortunately, a loss overall for the Whitecaps in the Amway Canadian Championship, but it did go into that 30-minute extra time, penalties. We also saw it with the Europa League final as they went into extra time, and a lot of players cramping up. Pedro Morales, probably the biggest example of that. What causes that sort of cramping nature, and are there things that players can do throughout the game to try to alleviate that?
Well, first of all, a cramp is a muscle contraction that is an extreme muscle contraction, and it really hurts. I mean, you can sometimes get cramps at night. And there are a variety of things that will make a muscle contract. The first is the normal thing, which is an electrical impulse down the nerve, which goes down the nerve, reaches the muscle, spreads out through the muscle, and makes the muscle contract. The second thing is if we were to apply a direct current across the muscle, like the old frog's leg experiment that you may have done in science at school many years ago, and you see the muscle contract. And the third thing is if you apply a bunch of chemicals to the muscle, they'll make a muscle contract. And this is what happens with cramping. Is you know, you've basically got an engine, which is a muscle cell, and the muscle cell takes in sort of, you know, its fuel, its nutrients, and it creates exhaust or garbage, if you like. And that garbage has to be removed. The good stuff comes in by the circulatory system and goes out by the circulatory system. And if someone is running for a long period of time, particularly doing sprint type activities, those chemicals that are supposed to be taken away kind of build up because your circulatory system can't keep up. And once they build up to a certain amount, then the muscle starts to actually cramp because of this chemical buildup. You know, it's once it's kind of starting in the game, it's hard to do. Athletes who are involved in sort of real power sports, and the hockey is the classic one, the 40 seconds off, the 42nd game, they call it, they actually do a lot of light cycling, and sometimes they'll be cycling in between periods and things to try and make sure they're doing some very light activity to get that circulation to remove that excess chemicals, or the exhaust system, if you like. What can be done during a game? Well, most players don't have too many problems during 90 minutes, otherwise, they wouldn't really be out there. They wouldn't really fit enough. But when they play the extra time, you often hear the term that playing on a heavy field. Certainly in years past, Wembley Stadium, the old Wembley anyway, the grass there was often considered like a heavy field, and players would fear playing extra time at Wembley because a lot of players would get cramps. Possibly, and I haven't seen any stats on this, but playing on the artificial surfaces, which is the rubber surface, it's a bit more springy, a bit more like a trampoline. It does seem to be a bit hard on the muscle system. So it may be that cramps could be a little more common playing long periods of time on artificial surfaces. Certainly Pedro Morales felt it. I'm not sure if he was going to be the 5th penalty taker, or if he just didn't take the penalty because he was so sore he felt he wasn't fit for it. He's going to need to do a lot of stretching, a lot of light activity the next few days after the game to get rid of all that stuff from the system before he can train hard again.
David Sandals of Expert Physio joining us here on Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk. And David, now sort of a time off here for the Vancouver Whitecaps, where they have a few days off before they have to get back into training. And a lot of those World Cup guys as well now, their season's over or ending this weekend. And now they have a bit of time before that World Cup starts. What do these players need to do? Is it continuing that hard training? Is it completely off, or is it something like just casual, a little bit lighter training for some of these guys?
I think the problem with that, as far as doing something with a team, is that every individual is going to be a little bit different. Some of those players have played a lot more than the others. Some of the teams that they come from have played a lot more than other teams. And really what has to happen is the teams need to come into camp and be evaluated. The players need to come into camp and be evaluated for, if they have any kind of like fitness issues. Again, I think I spoke a few weeks ago about fatigue. It can be measured in an athlete by knowing what their normal resting heart rate is, what the heart rate is when they first wake up in the morning. If they're starting to go up, they're probably overtraining or overtrained. The other issue coaches would have is a certain amount of staleness that you hear, which is really more of a sort of psychological, mental kind of thing, that they need a little bit of a mental rest from the game, they need a mental rest from the stimulus of going out there and playing in front of thousands of people who are screaming at them, the amazing atmosphere that we get at soccer fields. So I think they need to be individually evaluated, and hopefully when you get to the kind of level that international players are playing at, that will be happening virtually as we speak now, so that the coach can, when he comes in and they start training, they may have to modify what's happening with one or two of the players, at least for a short period of time. I think the tendency is
That was David Sandals. Had just a little technical glitch there, but we'll get the whole thing up on our podcast, am650radio.com. That was obviously David Sandals, physiotherapist at Expert Physio, and he put me through the functional assessment on Friday, and it's really interesting. Simon, we were just talking about it. It's interesting to know the part of your body is a little bit weaker. Some things compensate a little bit more because you might have, he mentioned there that I have tight calves and hamstrings, so that could cause some issues or even some injuries or chronic soreness. My hips are also slightly misaligned. They're out of alignment, so that can cause a little bit of soreness. So then you get to just do some simple exercises that can correct that. So it was pretty interesting to kind of see that information and figure it out.
Yeah, because I think the thing about that is to go through that kind of assessment, it kind of identifies what could potentially be an injury problem, especially if you're involved with it. And I certainly would benefit very much from that, having had sprained both my ankles and suffered a really, really nasty injury called osteitis pubis a few years ago playing soccer and doing a lot of jogging. Yeah, it was not fun. If anyone out there has done an OP before, it is extremely painful. So those kinds of things I think are very important, and I think in a lot of ways, especially from what we understand with a lot of the sports science, especially here with the Whitecaps, in comparison to the other teams in the league and their injury issues that are stacking up and whatnot, I think one of the big things that this club right now has got a big advantage over is the fact that they've got people in there that get the players basically assessed down to what they could identify, what their potential problems could be, and then work on them to really head it off before it becomes an issue. And I think it's paying real dividends. So it's something I think worth taking into consideration.
Yeah, well, I highly recommend going in and getting one done for yourself. Simply put, I tore my quad muscle, and David was basically able to figure out exactly where that got torn, and I had no idea, but he could actually feel where the hole is in the muscle and where it's gone. So yeah, definitely if you care about your health and you want to check that out, do so. Work with the experts. Convenient clinics located at Burnaby Heights and at 8 Rinks. For more information on the services they provide and even to get a functional assessment, visit expertphysio.ca. Expert Physio can get you back to full health. Highly recommend them. Visit them today at expertphysio.ca. All right, when we return, what would Martin Rennie do? We'll ask him our poll question, our barber poll. Under what circumstances would you welcome Camilo back to the Whitecaps? As former Vancouver Whitecaps head coach, Martin Rennie joins us next.
Follow us on Twitter at Soccer Talk 650 and at Tyler Green FC. This is Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk on AM 650.
Not that your stylist at the salon isn't doing a good job, but man, you deserve the big red leather barber chair experience of AnotherFineCut.com. Here's how it works. Go to AnotherFineCut.com. Book your appointment at one of their 3 unique to their area barbershops in Gastown, Yaletown, or the Financial District. You can just walk in, too, and get your haircut, hot shave, buzz cut, fade, or beard trim experience. You deserve this. A great wedding party idea, too. AnotherFineCut.com.
What's it like to score in the beautiful game? Come to Kia Vancouver and find out. This month during the Score the Best Price sale event, you can score 0% financing for 84 months and a $4,000 discount on select 2014 Kia Optimus. Plus, only at Kia Vancouver, score free lifetime car washes, free lifetime oil changes, free lifetime airport shuttle and parking, and always service with a smile. Kia Vancouver, the power to surprise at KiaVancouver.com and on Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon.
The 2014 season of EA Sports BC Soccer Premier League. Welcome to the front lines of the game. Welcome to the big league. The one that provides an elevated level of competition for high-performance players within BC and contributes to player development for the Canadian national team and professional opportunities here and abroad. This is where you're going to see the top youth players in action. Catch some of the most intense soccer in the province. EA Sports BC Soccer Premier League. For information and upcoming games, check out bcsoccer.net.
Whether playing soccer on this continent or football on every other, Umbro is the name worn by top players and teams worldwide. Those same uniforms are available for your team or club at umbro.com. Umbro, proud to be the official supplier of Canada's men's and women's national teams, is celebrating 90 years of expertise in the game. If you want your club to play like the pros, dress them like the pros at umbro.com. Umbro, the heart and soul of football.
Target helps you check it off your list for less with a price match guarantee that means unbeatable prices on the things you need and the stuff you gotta have for Victoria Day. Or as I like to call it, running and skipping and jumping and twirling and high-fiving because summer is finally here day. Through May 22nd at Target, Gatorade and Powerade sports drinks are just $4 for $5 and a 4-pack of select Nestle Drumstick ice cream is only $3.99. Check it off your list for less at Target. Quantities limited, no rain checks. Restrictions apply to the price match guarantee. See target.ca for details.
Waiter, I'll have the steak, please. For this evening? Of course. That'll be $30 more. More? It's peak steak season. What do you mean peak? All the regular price steaks are taken. Taken. So I have to charge you more. I think I'm being taken.
What if restaurants work like some travel rewards cards? Avioners have the right to use the same number of points to fly, even during peak seasons. Apply for the RBC Visa Infinite Avion card today and get 15,000 welcome points. Visit rbc.com/avion for details. Some conditions apply.
We're back. This is Kia Vancouver's Soccer Talk on AM 650. Now here's your host, Tyler Green.
Former Whitecaps head coach Martin Rennie will join us in just a matter of minutes here. You can get your questions into Martin. Tweet us at SoccerTalk650. Hashtag AskMartin. Email us soccertalk650@gmail.com. My name's Tyler Green. Alongside me, Simon Fudge, who has the latest from Italy.
It's the final weekend of the Italian Serie A season. Juventus will lift the Scudetto title tomorrow that they'd secured a couple weeks ago when they're home to Cagliari. Juventus, along with Roma and Napoli, have secured the Champions League spots for next season, and the three clubs relegated to Serie B for next year are Catania, Bologna, and Livorno.
We now welcome Martin Rennie to Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk. Martin, of course, the former head coach of the Vancouver Whitecaps. Now he's doing a lot of blogging and writing about the state of soccer and the development of soccer here in Canada, specifically with the youth. He is also the namesake of Christina, our producer's fantasy MLS team. What would Rennie do? Martin, welcome to the show.
Thanks very much.
Now, first off, just wanted to get your thoughts on the current state of the Whitecaps here, 10 games into Major League Soccer under Carl Robinson.
It's not something I've followed really closely, to be honest. I've watched a lot of soccer in the last few months, but I haven't really followed the Whitecaps too closely, so I wouldn't want to give too much of an opinion on that. Obviously, they, I'm sure, will be disappointed not to have made the final of the Canadian Cup, at least. That was always a big event for the fans in the past, so I'm sure it still is now. But other than that, I haven't really followed it too closely.
Now, obviously, you've kind of been through the what happened with you and the Caps conversation before, so I don't want to ask you about that. But what did you learn from that experience and your experience as a Major League Soccer coach?
Well, I think I learned a lot of things. I think, after I was finished there with the Whitecaps, I sat down and I wrote down lessons that I'd learned in the time that I was there, and it was a long list. There was a lot of things that I learned, and that's important. I think I read this week from Tim Sherwood, who left Tottenham. Someone had asked him, did he learn a lot of things? And he said, oh, yeah, it was a really steep learning curve. And then someone said, or the same person said, would you do anything differently? And he said no. So I was thinking it couldn't be much of a learning curve if you wouldn't do anything differently. And for me, I certainly think there's things that I learned that I'll do differently in the future, and that will make me a better coach. I think in coaching and most things that you do in life, it's about growing, it's about getting better, and you can only do that through experience.
Martin Rennie joining us here on Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk on AM 650, only at Kia Vancouver. Get an extra $500 discount if you tell them Tyler from Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk sent you. Just mention my name, say 500 big ones. Martin, you've done a lot of blogging over the last few weeks about the situation here in Canada and the youth setup through the country. What got you sort of interested in that and started writing about that? And give us kind of a brief rundown on your thoughts for the people that haven't had a chance to read what it's all about just yet.
Yeah, well, I mean, basically with, my situation at the moment, I'm looking to get back into coaching probably sometime in the next number of months. But it was good for me to take a break from it and spend time at home and be around family. And I've really enjoyed that. And as I was doing that, I decided that I wanted to, build a little bit of a brand and build a website and so on. And so to do that, I needed to do some blogging. And one night I was sitting thinking, well, what would I want to write about, or what would be an interesting subject? And something that people have often asked me about is, what would make Canadian soccer better? And they were thinking mainly about, I think, the men's national team. They're around 110, have been as far down as 112 in the FIFA rankings recently. And so I put together just a 4-part series on things that I think could help Canadian soccer improve. And one of the main ones that gained the most traction was to do with private enterprise in youth coaching, or private enterprise in soccer in Canada, because I just think that if you improve that and you have more people involved in coaching soccer and building facilities and developing youth systems, then I think the standard of coaching would improve, and I think the standard of development of players would improve. Because at the moment, I think there's a huge gap and a massive problem with coaching of kids between the age of 5 and 12. And by the time they're 12 years old, if they're not being coached well and learning the right things, it's almost, it's a very big catch up with the other countries in the world. And then there was a number of other posts, but that was the one that gained probably the most traction initially.
Now, first off, where can people read that? I'll let you tell everyone where they can come and find that.
Yeah, the website is Rennie Coaching, And on there, they'll be able to find, my Twitter and Facebook and all that kind of stuff as well. I'm on Twitter at Rennie Coaching, and had a lot of people just following on that. And basically, my idea is over the next 15 to 20 years just to build a brand and build a site that I can use as a platform anytime I want, depending on what I decide to do and where I go in the future.
Now, obviously, it's a sort of a broad thing that needs to be done, but if you look at this Canadian system, if there's sort of what's the first thing that you would try to implement to make and improve Canadian soccer?
I think the first thing would be really improving the standard of coaching and the development system for players between the age of 5 and 12. Because at that point, there's lots of the best athletes are choosing which sports they're going to play, and a lot of the best athletes are being lost to soccer. They're not playing soccer; they're being lost to other sports. And so I think at that age, it's very important that very high quality coaches are delivering a quality program from a recognized curriculum, so that the players that are coming out of that at the end of that time can be of a high standard. Some of the highest level of coaching in Canada doesn't actually start until after that, and I believe that's a major problem. I also think another huge problem is once good players get to about the age of 18, there's nowhere for them to play. And, one of the blogs I wrote about was in Australia and Korea. Those countries were quite far down the rankings, and then they started their own professional league. And now they've gone up the rankings, considerably. They're now at the World Cup. And at the same time, Canada's just dropped lower and lower and lower and lower. And obviously we won't be watching them at this World Cup. So having a domestic league in Canada is, I think, something that has to happen. It may not start off at an incredibly high standard, but it can grow. And, there's so many examples of players around the age of 18 to 22 who are not ready to play, let's say, in an MLS team. And unfortunately, a lot of them aren't ready to play even in a USL team. But if they were given a domestic league to play in, somewhere to play in, then many more guys would become professionals, and then they would have a pathway. If they improve, they would get the chance, I think, to develop into players at a higher level. So I really believe that's a massive, massive problem at the moment because, even when I was there at the Whitecaps, it was very difficult to find places for young players who weren't quite ready to play.
People can ask questions with the hashtag AskMartin, sending them to SoccerTalk650. And Shoe Thief, stuck on a sofa, kind of to your point of kids maybe attracting more from hockey, is how can the CSA attract more young athletes from hockey? Is there a way, or is it a competition, or can people do both?
Well, the only way it's going to work is if there's a really quality coach working with a group of players, and they make a connection with that player, and they make a connection with that family, and they help that kid fall in love with the game of soccer. In hockey, it seems like there's quite a well-structured system, and there's many qualified coaches from what I can tell. There's private enterprise, there's a lot of competition, and so it's in the best interest of the coach to keep that kid in hockey. And sometimes they'll do that and say, you can no longer play other sports and so on and so forth. But I think at younger ages, kids can play more than one sport. They can develop as athletes. But I really think there has to be some kind of quality system where parents and players feel like, okay, I can see where this is going and how I can get there. And there has to be a connection with coaches or with clubs that really at the moment I don't think exists, because most of the soccer is done through not-for-profit clubs. And although I'm sure they do a good job, I think that a lot of players at a higher, or who are high level athletes, are lost to the system. And really, until you have the best raw material, the best athlete, it's hard to produce the best player. And until there's more quality athletes and more players being produced, then there's less competition at the high end, and it's more difficult to produce good national teams and quality players for MLS and overseas.
Martin Rennie joining us here on Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk. RennieCoaching.com is his website. My name's Tyler Green. Alongside me, Simon Fudge.
Martin, you have a very unique kind of coaching experience of having coached at basically the three tiers of the North American professional game. And when you look at what you feel your next move is going to be, between what you've probably entertained as offers and your certainly thoughts since you've left the Whitecaps, what do you feel you might be edging towards in terms of your next coaching opportunity?
Well, it obviously depends on a few things. I mean, one of the things is it has to be right for me and for my family. It has to be a place where we feel that we can settle, and it's going to be, the right schools and all the other things. So there's obviously things like that have to be taken into account. And also, I think from my experience of where I've coached in the past and what structure worked best for me, then I've got a clear idea in my mind of what kind of environment and infrastructure I want to get into and what I thrive in and what I can make the biggest impact on. But, I'm pretty open. I think that there's more and more teams coming on in MLS. Last 2 years I've coached a team to the best improvement in MLS at over 2 years that's ever happened in the history of MLS. So I know that I can do well in that league, but I know I can also do better than I've done before if I can get into the right environment and make use of the lessons I've learned in the last few years. At the same time, I've always kind of had an eye on going back to Europe, and there's a couple of opportunities where I can consider that, and that's always been something I've thought about.
Martin, everybody seems to want you to answer our poll question today, which was, under what circumstances would you welcome Camilo back to the Whitecaps after kind of everything that happened? Is as a manager, what would it take to simply welcome a player like that back? Is it simply just a chat with them, or can you really bring somebody like that back?
Well, I mean, it's difficult to answer because obviously I don't know all of the ins and outs of what happened, after I had left there, and I don't know really how realistic it is for him to be able to potentially come back. But I think one thing I always try to do is steer away from hypothetical questions. But it's a good question, and a lot of people did ask it. So my opinion is that one of the lessons I learned, one of the mistakes I think I made with the Whitecaps was that I didn't really build the team around Camilo soon enough. I think that in hindsight, he was the best player in his position, and he was, in my opinion, one of the only guys, maybe with the future exception of Kukuta, that you could build the team around. And so, when you lose that piece of your team, that's a big issue, in my opinion. And so if there was a way to make it work for him to be back under the right circumstances, then I would, personally, from my experience, I would look to do that. Now, since I've left, there may have been many reasons why that's not possible. Obviously, I'm not privy to that. But from my point of view, he's a difference maker. He did a lot for the Whitecaps in the 3 years that he was there, and he really should still be there.
A few quick ones here from some emails that have come in. Craig wants to know, what is your all-time favorite Calvin Harris song?
Oh, you know what? I'm not too sure on that. I think he's just another long line of quality Scottish artists. But I don't know. I've got a few. I wouldn't want to plumb for one.
Amrit, listening in Australia, emailing, who would you hire as the next manager at Manchester United?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I mean, I think, Louis van Gaal would be, obviously seems like the choice that a lot of people are going for. Obviously, if I could choose absolutely anyone in the world, then I'd choose myself. But given that that's not going to happen, I think Van Gaal would be good. It's interesting, Manchester United have had a tradition of having a manager for many, many years, and having great success with that. But in recent times, Chelsea have had many managers and won lots of trophies, and that's worked for them. So it might be the case that Manchester United need to have someone there who's not there for 20 years, but can really get them back to the level that they've been at in the past. And I think, we're so used to seeing Manchester United succeeding at the top of English football and European football that, that the fans there are going to demand that they get back to that quickly. And I think it probably needs to be someone like Van Gaal, who the players would, I'm sure, respect and who has proven himself to be a top manager. I mean, the other question mark is how long Guardiola will be at Bayern Munich. Obviously, he's done very well winning the league and the cup, but he didn't win the Champions League, and Beckenbauer doesn't seem to always be favouring what he's doing. So obviously he's shown himself to be a fantastic coach, and he would be a good Manchester United manager too. Martin
Rennie joining us here on Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk on AM 650. My name's Tyler Green. Alongside me, Simon Fudge. Marvin in Burnaby wants to know, Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid, who's taking the Champions League title this year?
Well, that's a great question as well, and I think, it's the first time there's two teams from one city played in the Champions League final, as far as I know. And, Real Madrid, when they counter-attack with Gareth Bale and Ronaldo, they're just unstoppable almost, and you saw that with, the way that they handled Bayern Munich. So Real Madrid maybe for me, but I obviously Atletico Madrid have had an incredible season, winning the championship there, and and knocking out Chelsea, who are obviously always a hard team to beat as well. So not only that, they've done it on, I think, a 30 million euros budget for their whole team, which is fantastic. That's probably less than TFC, so it's pretty impressive.
Martin, one thing I wanted to ask you was the game in your home country, Scotland, after the reformation of the divisions to the Scottish Professional Football League. What have your thoughts been after they've had now one season with the SPFL?
Well, I think obviously at the moment in Scottish football, the fact that Rangers aren't in the top division is a massive factor. You know, it used to say that Scotland was a two-horse race, but recently it's become show jumping, and that needs to change, I think, for Scottish football to really get back to the level that it was at before. So, Rangers are on their way back up. Hearts are going down at the moment. So, they've been relegated. So there's going to be a quality First Division Championship, they're calling it, next season. But the one thing that's worked, it sounds like very well, is the playoff system, because that's kept it exciting right till the very end. With Hearts having had the point deduction at the start of the season and Celtic running away with the title, if there hadn't been that playoff system in place, then I think it would have, been over and been very dull from a very early point in the season. But with that 11th place being a key place and Hibernian being the ones to drop into that place, there's now still that excitement where they have a playoff against either Hamilton or Falkirk. The odds are kind of stacked in the Premier League's team's favour to stay up. But Hibernian will have to go and make that happen.
And what did you think of the result today, St Johnstone winning the Scottish Cup?
Well, yeah, that was a game that was hard to call. It wasn't as if there was one team was the obvious favourite going into that. Dundee United have got a lot of quality players, young players, and Jackie McNamara, the manager there, has been attracting attention from teams in England, and rightly so. But St Johnstone have also had a fantastic season, and they beat Aberdeen in the semi-final of that competition when Aberdeen were the clear favourites. So it wasn't a huge surprise either way, but it was obviously a massive, massive win for them. I'm not sure if they've won the Cup since at least 40 years ago. I'm not sure if they've ever won it before, but at the end of the day, the players who did that will be legends around Perth for a long, long time.
Martin Rennie joining us here on Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk. Obviously the former Vancouver Whitecaps manager, and this question coming in here. Martin, what was the best and worst memories of your time here in Vancouver with the Whitecaps?
Oh, let me see. I think there was a lot of great memories. I think, winning the very first game at home against the Montreal Impact was a big one. I remember, how important that game was, just from the sense that Montreal were coming into the league for the first time. They'd been a big rival of the Whitecaps for many, many years. The Whitecaps had never won a road game, and the Montreal Impact had the chance to win a road game in their first game. So there was pressure on that game. But we had a great game, great atmosphere, and I think that was a big one. I think beating Seattle away 4-1 to win the Cascadia Cup, seeing Kakuta score a hat-trick, I think that was a great game. And I think also the last game of the season where Camilo managed to get the goals that he needed to become the Golden Boot winner, YP's retirement on that day, that was just a fantastic atmosphere. But there was tons of good games, even games like Portland where we tied at home and away. They were great games, great atmosphere. So lots of good memories. Enjoyed my time with the Whitecaps a lot. I think the biggest disappointment would be not winning the Voyageurs Cup when we were tied the game against the Impact and lost on the away goal rule, and especially with being ahead so close to the end, that would definitely be the biggest disappointment.
And the final question, Christina Dyke, our producer, who with your time at the Whitecaps, as she was with the Whitecaps as well, her fantasy league team is What Would Rennie Do? So she needs some help. What should she do to get out of the basement of our fantasy league? She needs some help. Which player is going to take her to the next level?
And this is in Major League Soccer Fantasy League? It is,
yeah.
Oh. Well, it sounds like you should go for Camilo if he's coming back. Get him before anyone else does. But, in terms of points, I would have to think Jermaine Defoe would be someone that would be worth putting in your team. And Torres at Chivas as well, I think, is a player who I think he's going to be a really top player, and I think he's already picked up a few points this season for Chivas, but I'm not sure if he's one of the most expensive guys, but he's very good value for money.
Martin, appreciate you taking the time out to join us here on a Saturday night. Wish you all the best, and hope to see you back coaching on the sidelines here very soon.
Sounds good. Yeah, nice to speak to you, and wish you all the best too. Thank you.
Thanks again, Martin Rennie, joining us here on Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk. Again, renniecoaching.com is his website where you can follow him, and all the links to his Facebook and Twitter account there. He's doing a lot of interesting things and writing a lot of interesting blogs as well. So some good stuff there from Martin Rennie if you're interested. Again, renniecoaching.com. And it was always a great guy to deal with here in Vancouver, and hope he finds a job very soon and gets a good offer to join back in potentially Major League Soccer or one of the other leagues here around North America. It'll be interesting to find out what's next for Martin Rennie. Still a lot to come. The Canadian men's national team releasing the names of the players coming to camp starting on Monday. We'll talk about that in a few minutes, but let's find out what's happening around BC in the BC Soccer Bulletin.
Here's what's happening throughout the province with the BC Soccer Bulletin. BC Soccer is hosting referee clinics throughout British Columbia in May and June. To learn more on how to become a referee in BC and to sign up for clinics, visit refcenter.com/BC. On June 18th, Canada's women's national team is playing Germany at BC Place, with kickoff at 7 p.m. Tickets are now on sale. For more information and to sign up for priority access to the FIFA Women's World Cup Canada 2015, visit bcsoccer.net. The EA Sports BC Soccer Premier League is pleased to announce the 61 players from its U18 boys and girls divisions who have now committed to university soccer programs for the 2014 fall season. These commitments include schools in the NCAA, CIS, and Pac West. For a full list of players, visit bcsoccer.net. And that was the BC Soccer Bulletin. To find out more information about these events and on how to become more involved with the beautiful game, visit bcsoccer.net.
Follow us on Twitter at SoccerTalk650 and at Tyler Green FC. This is Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk on AM 650.
Whether playing soccer on this continent or football on every other, Umbro is the name worn by top players and teams worldwide. Those same uniforms are available for your team or club at Umbro.com. Umbro, proud to be the official supplier of Canada's men's and women's national teams, is celebrating 90 years of expertise in the game. If you want your club to play like the pros, dress them like the pros at Umbro.com. Umbro, the heart and soul of football.
What's it like to score in the beautiful game? Come to Kia Vancouver and find out. This month during the Score the Best Price sale event, you can score 0% financing for 84 months and a $4,000 discount on select 2014 Kia Optimus. Plus, only at Kia Vancouver, score free lifetime car washes, free lifetime oil changes, free lifetime airport shuttle and parking, and always service with a smile. Kia Vancouver, the power to surprise at KiaVancouver.com and on Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon.
Vancouver Street Soccer League is the beautiful game at its finest. Teams of men and women who are homeless, have recently been homeless, or are at risk for homelessness get together to train and play matches. It's great fun that builds skill and confidence, and the league sent players to 4 consecutive Homeless World Cups in Milan, Rio de Janeiro, Paris, Mexico City, and Poland. Find out more at VancouverStreetSoccer.com.
This message fueled by Duso's fresh pasta and sauce, proud to support community on and off the pitch.
It was true Italy. Every weekend, the Duso family gathered to share laughter and plates of homemade pasta. So when the Duso brothers came to Canada, rather than become homesick for the good times, they opened Duso's on Granville Island. A generation later, the Dusos are still creating authentic, home-style Italian pasta and sauce from natural ingredients. Great carbs and quick, healthy meals. Official pasta of the Vancouver Canucks and Vancouver Whitecaps FC. Look for Duso's fresh pasta and sauce at your local grocery store. Visit Dusos, DUSOS.com.
It's your money with Fred Snyder.
What do you have to do to achieve your financial objectives? You got to find the right investments, you got to find the right plan, you got to find the right financial advisor, and you got to be proactive. You have to do something. You just can't sit back and wait for it to happen. You got to make it happen.
Fred Snyder, Sunday mornings from 9 to 11 on All Time Favorites AM 650.
This is Kia Vancouver's Soccer Talk on AM 650. Now here's your host, Tyler Green.
Canadian men's national team releasing the names of the players coming to camp for 2 friendlies starting on Monday. It's a mix of mainly European-based players, but there's a lot of youngsters, including Bryce Alderson of the Vancouver Whitecaps on that team. Simon and I will discuss that in just a couple minutes, but my new Kia Sorento from Kia Vancouver, probably one of the better vehicles that I've ever owned, if not the best. Offers the best value in the marketplace as well. A lot of great features: leather, heated seats, panoramic sunroof, 4-wheel drive, V6, great fuel economy. Drove everybody into the station here, except they made Greg ride the bus. But he was coming from somewhere else, so we weren't sure exactly whether or not we could pick Greg up to get here on time. Plus, you get an additional $500 off if you just mention my name. So use me at Kia Vancouver. Tell them Tyler sent you. Kia Vancouver, Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon. Pedro Morales and his wife just picked up a new couple pair of Kia cars. A Kia Optima and a Kia Soul. So they're getting in on the action. Kia Vancouver, Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon. Simon, a few stories of interest from Germany, Scotland, and France.
Yes, there was the German Cup final today in Berlin. Borussia Dortmund 0, Bayern Munich 2 after extra time. Arjen Robben and Thomas Müller securing the domestic double for the Bavarians. The Scottish Cup final at Celtic Park went to St. Johnstone. It's their first major trophy in their 130-year history. A Tayside derby win, a 2-0 win over Dundee United there. And in France, it was the last day of the season in Ligue 1. Paris Saint-Germain have won their second straight Ligue 1 title. Them, Monaco, and Lille getting the Champions League places. Europa League places go to the French Cup winners Guingamp, Saint-Etienne, and Lyon. Relegated to Ligue 2, Sochaux, Valenciennes, and the Corsican club Ajaccio.
The Canadians men's national team released the names of players called to camp for the friendlies in May. The list comprised mostly of European-based players and youngsters. Some of the names are very familiar, including Atiba Hutchinson, Julian de Guzman, Simeon Jackson to St. Ricketts, and the rest. A few names, though, like Roberto Stillo, Jeremy Gagnon-Lapierre, Tyler Pasher, and even Bryce Alderson, are fairly new to the squad. And while some will question the roster, which doesn't include a lot of Major League Soccer players, or really any Major League Soccer players other than Jeremy and Bryce from Montreal and Vancouver, I like this lineup. It provides Benito Flores with an opportunity to look at some of the older players and see exactly where they fit in and if they even do still fit in, but also giving the youngsters a chance to learn from them. It also gives him a chance to look at some of those young European-based players and see where they fit into this roster. There's going to be plenty of opportunity for the likes of Russell Tybert and someone like Jonathan Osorio to play for the national team, but in the midst of a Major League Soccer season, it's probably better if these guys continue playing for their club team and keep those spots on their club team as opposed to just playing a friendly that maybe doesn't mean anything. And, well, Benito Flores has already given those guys a look and knows what some of those guys can do. Canada's, well, it's a little bit far away from truly competing for a trophy on an international stage, whether it's the Gold Cup or even a World Cup qualification. So why not look at some of those other options that you haven't yet had a chance to look at together on the Canadian national team? And for my 2 cents, I think that Benito Flores has put together a squad in order to do that right now.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. He needs to sort of get a sense of, what his entire player pool can work from. And I think, for me, there's some interesting names in there. For me, the one player I think stands out is someone that I've seen before. Obviously, he plays Caleb Clark. I'd really like to know what his development has been like playing for Augsburg's second team. Even Adam Straith, I know that he has been bouncing around with different clubs in Germany, that he dropped down to, I think, the Bundesliga 2 with Wiesbaden. So there's some players there that would give me some interest to see, but I think for Floro it's important that he gets a chance to have a look at them and get a sense of, does he have some amount of ranging depth that he can choose from.
Yeah, and I like a guy like Roberto Stillo, who goalkeeper in Italian Serie B and getting opportunity to play a lot there and give you that a little bit of extra depth. We've seen, okay, Simon Thomas got called in. Well, Simon Thomas never played for Vancouver Whitecaps, so how much action was he actually getting? Kenny Stam up top is getting a little bit older. Lars Hirschfeld getting a little older. And, Miriam Borean is he truly going to be a great player? He's, according to the press release, sans club right now, so that's got to be a concern as well. So I like the fact that there are some new names and some names that you don't immediately recognize from this lineup. There's some names that I've never really even heard of before this press release at Canadian Soccer came out, and that's what I like to see. I like to see that there's some new players and some new blood potentially coming in, and it's interesting, like you said, to expand that player pool and really see what is out there. And we know what a lot of these guys in Major League Soccer have done, and we've seen them a lot in the Gold Cup over the last couple of years and in some friendlies over the last little while. So Benito Floro has seen these guys play, and so now it's a good opportunity to see some of those other guys, like you said.
And I wonder as well if he's done so with the idea of trying to identify players that fit the system that he wants to play. I think a lot of times the head coach would be sort of someone who's, okay, we're going to have to play with what we've got, but I wonder if he'll sort of take a different approach, say this is how we're going to play, and he's actually taken on more players to look at just to see if they can fit into the system of how he wants to play.
Kia Vancouver at 396 Southwest Marine Drive. More info online, KiaVancouver.com. Only at Kia Vancouver, free lifetime car washes, oil changes, and get this, free lifetime airport shuttle and parking. Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon. Up next, The Final Cut, brought to you by AnotherFineCut.com, and we'll get some hot fudge.
This is Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk on AM 650. Follow us on Twitter at Soccer Talk 650 and at Tyler Green FC.
Held high above the heads of soccer supporters everywhere. The soccer scarf is a world-class tradition, and Global Scarves can get you into the game. From English soccer clubs to Canadian hockey teams, Global Scarves has been producing high-quality UK-knitted soccer scarves for over 40 years. Because you're dealing directly, you get the lowest price, and your order shipped in as little as 15 days. Global Scarves are a high-margin, high-spirited fundraising idea. Contact Brad at globalscarves.com or visit globalscarves.com.
The 2014 season of EA Sports BC Soccer Premier League. Welcome to the front lines of the game. Welcome to the big league. The one that provides an elevated level of competition for high-performance players within BC and contributes to player development for the Canadian national team and professional opportunities here and abroad. This is where you're going to see the top youth players in action. Catch some of the most intense soccer in the province. EA Sports BC Soccer Premier League. For information and upcoming games, check out bcsoccer.net.
The Straight Razor Shave, a leading man classic. Centuries old, steady hand coaxing the rugged face back to smoothness. This nearly lost art has found revival at AnotherFineCut.com. Hot towels, straight edge blade into your face. It's an experience that reminds you you're alive, you're a man, in the company of history's finest men. Start at AnotherFineCut.com. Pick your barbershop in Yaletown, Gastown, or the Financial District, and relax into the big red leather chair for the shave of your life.
What's it like to score in the beautiful game? Come to Kia Vancouver and find out. This month during the Score the Best Price sale event, you can score 0% financing for 84 months and a $4,000 discount on select 2014 Kia Optimus. Plus, only at Kia Vancouver, score free lifetime car washes, free lifetime oil changes, free lifetime airport shuttle and parking, and always service with a smile. Kia Vancouver, the power to surprise at KiaVancouver.com and on Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon.
Airport, please, driver.
Right, we will be taking Main Street.
That's the other way.
And I'll drop you off at 10th Avenue.
But I don't want to be going...
That's where you get a connecting cab to your destination.
Connecting cab?
After a 3-hour layover.
What?
Have a nice day.
What if cabs work like some travel rewards cards? Avianers have the freedom to avoid unnecessary flight connections. Apply for the RBC Visa Infinite Avion card today and get 15,000 welcome points. Visit rbc.com/avion for details. Some conditions apply.
I just can't believe how much there is to win in Hometown Heroes Lottery. More prizes than any other BC home lottery. Over 7,000. And tickets are 2 for only $50 with 5 grand prize choices, including $1.6 million cash. Win a fortune and support VGH and the Firefighters Burn Fund. Call 604-648-4376. That's 648-4376.
Ticket buyers must be 19 or older. Know your limit. Play within.
Hometown Heroes. We're back. This is Kia Vancouver's Soccer Talk on AM 650. Now here's your host, Tyler Green.
Only at Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk, get an extra $500 discount if you tell them Tyler from Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk sent you. Just mention my name and save $500.
Oh, baby. Hot fudge with Simon Fudge.
And here it is. Enjoy your Victoria Day long weekend with a nice gin and tonic, added with a slice of lime. That's my hot fudge for this week.
Do not drink it with hot fudge. I'm taking the soda instead of the tonic. It's time now for the Final Cut, brought to you by anotherfinecut.com. 3 full-service barber shops for your big haircut, hot shave, buzz cut, fade, or beard trim. Get the ultimate barbershop experience at anotherfinecut.com. 3 locations to serve you: Gastown, Yaletown, or the Financial District. Anotherfinecut.com. And tonight's Final Cut is, well, Christina is a little bit upset with me because what would Rennie do in MLS Fantasy League standings is 40th, and Tyler Green at mid-table Green FC is ranked 65th. So she's not at the bottom of the table. She's doing a little bit better than that. But she's, it's still good to find out what Rennie would do. Hence the name. Meant the question needed to be asked. Anyway, for the crew here at Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk, executive producer Christina, contributor Simon Fudge, and Greg the Hammer Ballack. My name's Tyler Green. Thank you for listening. You can download the podcast at am650radio.com. Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk returns next Saturday at 10 p.m. after the Whitecaps and Sounders match right here on AM 650 Radio. The Beatles are next.
BC-born superstar Rory McDonald looks to earn a coveted UFC title shot when he meets Tyron Woodley in a welterweight showdown. Live Saturday, June 14th from Rogers Arena. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.ca.
The Vancouver Street Soccer League isn't out to change the world. Just give the men and women in our homeless communities a chance to play soccer. Regardless of skill, everyone's included in practices and matches with teams from UBC, the Vancouver Police Department, the Vancouver Mayor's Office, and more. The focus is fun, but it builds skill and confidence, and that can change someone's world. Find out more at VancouverStreetSoccer.com.
This message fueled by Duso's Fresh Pasta and Sauce. Proud to support community on and off the pitch.
What's it like to score in the beautiful game? Come to Kia Vancouver and find out. This month during the Score the Best Price sale event, you can score 0% financing for 84 months and a $4,000 discount on select 2014 Kia Optimus. Plus, only at Kia Vancouver, score free lifetime car washes, free lifetime oil changes, free lifetime airport shuttle and parking, and always service with a smile. Kia Vancouver, the power to surprise at KiaVancouver.com and on Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon.
Held high above the heads of soccer supporters everywhere, the soccer scarf is a world-class icon of support, and Global Scarves can turn it into a high-profit, high-visibility, high-spirited fundraising idea for your club, organization, or school. Global Scarves has been producing high-quality, UK-knitted soccer scarves for over 40 years. They offer low prices for fundraising groups with no sacrifice on quality. A welcome change from chocolate. Find out more about Global Scarves. Contact Brad at globalscarves.com or visit globalscarves.com.
BC-born superstar Rory McDonald looks to earn a coveted UFC title shot when he meets Tyron Woodley in a welterweight showdown. Live Saturday, June 14th from Rogers Arena. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.ca.
If your patio had an imagination, right now it would be imagining you walking through the doors of Pier 1 Imports. Because now through Victoria Day at Pier 1's 9-day dealio, you're going to save up to 25% off all outdoor items. From breathtaking furniture sets to dazzling pillows to festive plates and dishes.
Which means if you want your patio to have imagination, now's the perfect time to make it happen. So hurry in now through May 19th and find what speaks to you at Pier 1 Imports.
Everybody, always look on the bright side of life.
Laugh a lot at Monty Python's Spamalot. No shrubbery required to see the musical comedy lovingly ripped off from the movie Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Spamalot, now playing at the Stanley Industrial Alliance stage. Tickets start from just $29 at artsclub.com. Spamalot, that's artsclub.com. Holy Grail not included.